about synesthesia. The central idea is that synesthesia is rare, and for most people that have it, they don't know that they have it because, I'll explain it. If you've ever smelt green or tasted the sound of the piano, then you probably have synesthesia. Since many people have never heard of it, I thought it was an interesting topic to bring up. During this speech, I hope you guys are enlightened about the complexities of the brain and how it can do many good things, many bad things, and some things it just doesn't matter in between. I've been a fan of medical documentaries for many years. I'm always watching TLC. I love Discovery Health. And whenever I find a really interesting medical disease or disorder, I like to share it, and this is one of them. First, I'm going to talk about the history of synesthesia, then I'm going to talk about the causes and the symptoms, and finally the pros and cons. First of all, the discovery of synesthesia, due to its rarity, it only occurred and was noticed in the mid-19th century. Synesthesia doesn't have a really long history. Like I said before, because people aren't aware they have it, but it's still interesting nonetheless. The earliest discovery of synesthesia was by Sir Francis Galton, and he suggested that it may run in families, and coincidentally, he was the cousin of Charles Darwin. It was first acknowledged in the medical environment when famous people like Duke Ellington started showing symptoms. As Duke Ellington put it, I hear a note by one of the fellows in the band, and it's color. I see its color. I hear the same note played by someone else, and it's a different color. I hear sustained musical notes, and I see just the same colors as you do, but I see them in textures. Next, there are the causes of synesthesia and the likely symptoms that occur. The causes and symptoms are very unique, and not everyone has the same symptoms. There are different types of synesthesia, so that's why people have different signals firing off. But the cause of it is because the brain is sending and receiving mixed signals. When someone looks at a color, the color is analyzed and registered in the occipital lobe, which is in the back of the head. And that's why whenever you hit the back of your head, you sometimes see stars. It's because you're hitting that part of your brain. And the area that is affected is called V4. And it is located near, it is also near the area that is also responsible for seeing something in its physical form. And usually these areas act separately. So you see a color and that's it. You don't see anything else. Or you recognize something as a square or a circle, and you see it as a square or circle. But with people with synesthesia, these things overlap. So you may see a color and taste something, or you may hear a sound and also see a color. These signals overlap, but they usually are separated. It is genetic. It is passed through mother, we believe, because it is found in the X chromosome, and we can't find any evidence that a father has passed it down to his son, so it's usually on the mother's side of the family. And there are slightly more women with this disorder than men. It has a wide range of symptoms that occur. The most common is called a Graham color, which is, like I said before, you see something and it may have a color to it, like you see the letter A and it may be red, even though you know it's black, like it's in black and white paper. Or you may see a number and it also has a color to it. So if someone wrote a black 4 on the board, you also may see a yellow hue to it. There's also one called music or sound color synesthesia, which is you hear a sound and you also see a color that goes along with it. So you may hear someone clapping and see patterns of blue or green that goes along with the rhythm of the clapping. This is the one that Duke Ellington had. And then there's lexical gustatory, which is a word taste association, which is very interesting. A researcher named Julia Simmer of the University of Edinburgh in the UK found that many of the synesthetics that had lexical gustatory synesthesia, they found that most of them, there was a pattern. So if there was a word that had an to it, most of them tasted mint. And if they heard something that sounded like A, they would taste bacon. And in addition to these strange and thought-provoking symptoms, we can't help but wonder how on earth they could be treated or cured. They can't be cured. There are no treatments. Synesthesia is involuntary, it's automatic, and it's memorable. But the advantages to this is that most people who have synesthesia have a higher level of literary skills like spelling, so if there's a pattern to a word, it's kind of easier to remember. If every other word was green or blue or yellow, you might be confused with the letters themselves, but with the colors, it's easier to remember how to spell something. They also have an easier time learning mathematical concepts, and they have better memory recall. They have better memory recall because it's very memorable. If something is always green, you will always remember it as being green. The disadvantages to this is that synesthesia can be very distracting. Imagine you're driving and someone honks a horn and you see a flash of yellow. You can easily probably run into a tree. So it's very distracting in that way, and it's also distracting in that kids, when they have it, they don't understand what they're seeing. They always think, oh, this color is blue, when a teacher may say, no, that color is black. Or the child may say, yeah, but it has a blue color to it, and people just don't understand. The reality of a synesthetic is very different from the one that most of us share, because most of us in here see the same thing. We see a color, we don't taste pizza. We hear a piano, we don't see purple dots. But people with synesthesia may. In conclusion, I hope that this has enlightened you to how the brain can misfire and lead to a neurological disorder called synesthesia. We talked about how first it was discovered in the mid-19th century by Francis Galton, who was Charles Darwin's cousin. And the causes and symptoms, the causes are misfirings in the brain, and it's genetic. The advantages is that you have an easier time learning how to spell and how to read. The disadvantages are that they can be very distracting. So if someone tells you that your name is orange or that they love the taste of Mozart's Requiem, don't dismiss them as being crazy. Just think of them as a genetically enhanced human being.